Good afternoon, good day, good evening. Ozzy here. You may never have heard of me before, and that's perfectly fine because this is a brand new channel. So I created this channel on purpose to sort of view the current sort of political landscape from a wider lens. The sense that we're not thinking in election cycles, that we are, thinking in eras and generations of people. It's easy to get caught up with the whole nonsense and whatever's in the news cycle that current day, especially coming from my personal political leanings, which is sort of a right wing romantic, if you want to call it that, which is obviously someone who does have that more poetical and creative leaning, but at the same time sees the logic of what many conservatives have argued for. This is where I feel like it might be a good tangent to go off on, because currently our establishment, we have a new party, Restore Britain, which has been formed relatively recently. And just before I go on, I am a member of Restore Britain. The reason being is that I just feel like we need to take a hard line on this kind of thing, because if we don't take a hard line now, then in the future it could be a lot more difficult to do so. And I know that's probably not popular to a lot of people, and obviously politics is all about juggling different relationships with different groups of people and different communities, etc. Which is why I feel like it's only right to rally around what I would consider my community and people that think, like me. And again, that's not saying that you don't want people that, don't think like us in the movement, because of course that would be fine. That'd be perfectly, amicable. But my problem is this whole split at the minute that's happening, where you see in a lot of reform members and a lot of reform sort of spokespeople come out and directly attack Restore. The reasoning seems pretty vague to me, because they attacked initially on mass deportations and remigration, which weirdly now seems to be sort of a policy of reform, even though they come out and directly attack Restore's position. Again, bit weird. I mean, it just seems like what reform are just devolving into what the Conservative Party were, where they take the action, 5-6 years later ahead of the smaller sort of parties on the scene. And I mean, we've seen this ourselves, like a lot of the points that people stand on in the Conservative Party were the opinions of certain other parties 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But because it's been okay to say that now, which is partly due to reform, to give the respect to them, they have obviously helped push the Overton window on that kind of thing, which, full credit to them for doing that. But now that the Overton window's shifted, we need a lot more sort of hardline and stronger people to step forth, because much like Boris Johnson in 2019, I feel like Farage just flip-flops depending on what his support base want, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's a lot better if he just went into it with his own principles in line and just said, like it or lump it, vote for me or not. I think I would prefer that, because it's a lot more honest. I mean, we've had years and years and years of just outright lies and deception. We've even had leaders that have identified the problem, but then just done nothing about it. So, yeah, and I think this split between Reform and Restore is going to massively impact Reform, because at the end of the day, people know what Rupert Lowe stands for. People know what Restore stands for as well. And I'm not going to get into the whole advance restore thing because I think that just doesn't need the airtime really. But reform and restore kind of does, in my opinion. So yeah, my opinion is that obviously reform maybe has certain people in its party now that want the party to be a bit different, possibly, to what was originally laid out and what we believed it was, which, you know, will be affecting their party line of things, and obviously will create sort of infighting, I believe. And I just want to stay fully, clearly away from that. Even any reform supporters supporting this video, if you do believe, you know, the similar things to me, then I have no quarrel with you at all. I just think that I would rather have someone who's principled in what he stands for than someone who flip-flops. And I think that's what sort of the political realm needs at the minute, because you need people that's going to call a spade. And I think Trump has been massive on this, really. Like him or not, and I mean, you know, a lot of the time for me it's not, because yeah, especially the way he handled the Epstein stuff is just mental. But he brought truth to the US in the way that instead of pretending to be this sort of rules-based, you know, power that can enforce the rules, it now just sees its position for what it is, and that is basically, you know, the Western Empire, really. And I think the whole, especially now in Trump's presidency, the mask is off for that kind of thing, and everyone knows what America is, and who Trump is in that, and what his role is in that, rather than pretending that, you know, it's a rules-based order, and, you know, it's a democracy, all that kind of stuff, which it is a democracy, obviously, because you wouldn't have Trump in power if it wasn't. But the whole masks off sort of thing with, you know, their position in the world, the US's position in the world. I think for a long time people have been under the false sort of conception that is conception the right word? I don't know. But the false pretense that that, you know, the US is a rules-based national order that just wants good for people, etc., etc. Everyone knows that was a lie. Let's just go back to the, like, Iraq, that kind of thing, or even go back further to, you know, the 70s and the Bear Pigs, etc. You can go back then and know that they were moving like an empire. But no, we you know, because they're part of NATO or whatever it is, or whatever globalist sort of order they're a part of. No, because they're a part of that, they can't be acting as an empire because we all back them on this and that kind of thing. But everyone knows their position, and everyone knew the position of the US as well. So, sorry, a massive tangent on that, but just coming back round to the state of the UK currently, I think this is why we need restore over reform. Because personally, I think that why should we lie about our position in the world and who we are as a people? Why should we continually lie about that or obscure that and, you know, play us down, that kind of thing, when we know what power we hold, and a lot of the other countries across the world will not exert power in this rules-based way that we've seen for years in America, and obviously years here as well. But the way we used to exert power is much like kind of what Trump's doing at the minute, because, you know, no one's under under any false impression that you know, that he's not the emperor, if you like, of the US. I know obviously he can be, you know, voted out in the House of Representatives and that kind of thing, and people obviously did vote for him in the first place, so he's not an emperor. But in terms of the utter power that comes with that, he kind of is. So I just think it's pointless to play the fool anymore on this kind of thing, and I think that's where Farage falls down, because he should know that the Blairism sort of rhetoric isn't going to work anymore. People are sort of fed up with that, and I think you can see this especially with the appointments of some of the Muslim people in his party. And this is not a problem with Muslims at all. This is just the optics of it, because the optics of it don't look great, especially when you're enforcing this Blairism sort of order as well. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I genuinely do believe vote restore, but free to hold whatever opinion you want. Um, yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts on this kind of thing, and if it's not useful, don't listen. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this little rant. I appreciate it, and I'll let my outro song play out. Have a good day.